Before the end of the world, by virtue of giving birth to a mermaid cub, I successfully secured a seat to escape into space. Meanwhile, the fake daughter who rejected the South China Tiger didn't even have the qualifications to enter the lottery. On the day we were to leave, the fake daughter used saying goodbye as an excuse to successfully kill my mermaid baby by throwing him to the ground, and then she plunged a knife into my chest. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of choosing our Beastman husbands. The fake daughter immediately chose the mermaid, hoping to escape the blue planet with a mermaid cub. However, she seemed to have forgotten that the South China Tiger is the truly endangered species in the galaxy. Don't marry the mermaid prince. As soon as I opened my eyes, I heard the fake daughter's delicate voice. I then realized that I had been reborn on the day Lin Wanwan and I were choosing our Beastman to marry. Looking at Lin Wanwan's determined expression, I knew she had been reborn as well. I was switched by a nurse as a baby, and only returned to the Lin family when I was 18. However, my parents felt they had raised her for so long and developed feelings, so they were unwilling to send Lin Wanwan back. Instead, they said they gained another daughter, and told me to call her older sister. The Beastmen we were to marry were: one was a South China Tiger, wealthy but orphaned and considered simple-minded, and the other was a noble mermaid prince from a clan with strict, ancient rules. In the past life, my parents begged me to marry the mermaid prince. Your sister feels guilty for stealing your life, so she specially gave up this great opportunity for you. You must remember her kindness. At first, I really thought Lin Wanwan had found her conscience. Later, I learned that after marrying a mermaid, you must transform into one yourself to live with them in the deep sea. The first step was to swallow the mermaid tribe's secret medicine, which caused pain no less than childbirth. Adding to that, the seabed was dim and lightless all year round, and their technology was relatively backward. My parents were worried Lin Wanwan couldn't adapt, so they decided to let me, a child who grew up in the countryside, marry into it. They thought since I grew up in a poor place, I wouldn't feel much of a difference. However, 2 months later, the heavy rains arrived. All communication systems were destroyed. My parents were trapped on the roof, without food or water. To save Lin Wanwan, the South China Tiger swam out into the storm to find help, only to die during the calamity halfway through. Lin Wanwan and my parents were transferred to a cruise ship, living every day on the scraps of others. After the torrential rain came the plague. And after the plague came the blizzards. The world was frozen in ice, and many people froze to death. Lin Wanwan and the others were moved to the underground city. After 10 years, Lin Wanwan became skin and bones. Then, naturalists announced that the blue planet was no longer suitable for any living thing. The Federation had built spaceships to search for a new home. However, the ship's capacity was limited, and the conditions for boarding were extremely harsh. Only those who made significant contributions during the apocalypse would have the right to enter the lottery. Seats were limited. Applications had to be submitted as soon as possible. Lin Wanwan and my parents had made no contributions, so they could only wait for death in the underground city. Just then, they saw on the news that I had given birth to a rare mermaid baby, receiving the blessing of the entire ocean tribe. Besides humans, the spaceships reserved spots for rare beastmen. Because of this baby, I directly gained the qualification to board the ship. Only then did they realize that neither the floods nor the blizzards had any impact on the creatures under the sea. While they were waiting for leftover food scraps, I had spent 10 years comfortably on the ocean floor. Enraged, they asked to see me one last time the day before boarding. After I let them into the room, my parents grabbed my arms, and Lin Wanwan smashed my tiny mermaid baby to death on the floor, then stabbed a knife right into my heart. Thinking of my mermaid baby, my heart ached. He was so small and well-behaved, just learning to say mama. I looked at Lin Wanwan, wishing I could kill her. Now, hearing Lin Wanwan choose the mermaid, my parents were a bit stunned. They thought she had forgotten the primary condition for marrying a mermaid, so they signaled to her frantically. Wanwan, have you thought this through? Maybe consider it a bit more. Yes, Wanwan. You've always had a cold constitution. If you go to live under the sea, your body might not be able to handle it. Lin Wanwan shook her head. What does that matter? Marrying a mermaid is just a bit of suffering. If I don't. Anyway, I've decided. I want to marry the mermaid. Seeing her persistence, they had no choice but to agree. They turned to me and said marrying a mermaid requires enduring great suffering. Your sister is doing this because she cares for you. You must remember her kindness. The words were so familiar. I nodded perfunctorily. Yes, I'll definitely remember. In my heart, I couldn't wait for them to follow the mermaid Mo to the bottom of the sea. Lin Wanwan thought she could avoid the apocalypse underwater and live like a goddess. Little did she know, Mo wasn't a mermaid prince at all. Racial discrimination within the mermaid tribe is severe. Those who become mermaids through medicine are the lowest class. Mo and his family were born to serve all other mermaids. On the night she transformed into a mermaid, Lin Wanwan's screams echoed through the entire villa. In my previous life, when I transformed, my parents' attitude was extremely cold. They didn't even look at me once. This time, they stayed outside Lin Wanwan's room. My mother crying out of heartbreak. My father kept asking Mo Lu if they couldn't use painkillers. I got into the car of the South China Tiger, Chin Lai. Before leaving, I looked up at the home where I lived for 10 years. My parents were still worried about Lin Wanwan, and had no intention of seeing me off. I waited for a few minutes, completely disillusioned. Let's drive. Those 10 years living with the mermaids in my past life were the darkest years of my life. I was classified as the lowest class mermaid. I even had to count the minutes I slept. Any mermaid in the sea was more noble than me. Anyone who saw me could trample on me. And my husband, Mo Lu, facing those provocations, not only pretended not to see, but sometimes, to please higher-level mermaids, he would send me to their beds. Compared to that, I would rather live in an underground city. At least there, everyone is equal. During those difficult years, my parents were my only thought. But I didn't realize until I died that they never acknowledged me as their daughter. Lin Wanwan was the only child they truly recognized. In my moment of sadness, a scented handkerchief was handed over. I looked up and saw Chin Lai's golden eyes. Don't be sad. If you miss your parents, I can buy the villa next to your father's house. Chin Lai was the only surviving South China Tiger. Beastman. He had no family left in this world. He came to my house to propose, because he heard my parents were people of good character, and wanted to choose a reliable family for himself. But in the last life, he didn't live well either. Even though Lin Wanwan married him, she didn't like him at all. She insulted and hit him constantly. In the end, he even gave his life to save her. However, not only did Lin Wanwan not choose him in this life, she didn't even say a single word of thanks. Don't buy that villa. How much money do you have? Chin Lai paused for a moment, then pulled an account book from the gap in the seat. I counted the numbers and said to him directly, would you be willing to let me manage this money? It was our first meeting. I knew it was a lot to ask. But Chin Lai said to me without hesitation, you are my wife. My money was meant to be given to you anyway. Seeing his serious expression, I was somewhat moved, and couldn't help but reach out to touch his animal ears. Chin Lai enjoyed it immensely, even transforming into his tiger form on the spot, wagging his tail and begging for more pets. In my memory, the apocalyptic rains lasted on and off for 9 months. But the water level did not submerge the mountain peaks. I used Chin Lai's money to buy 4 hotels on the mountains. Between them, there were over 400 rooms. I filled the warehouses of every hotel to the brim. In addition to the hotels, I also bought 10 cruise ships. Each ship also had hundreds of rooms. I coated the ships and houses with 100 layers of waterproofing. Once everything was ready, I used the rest of Chin Lai's money to buy gold. Just as everything was set, Lin Wanwan called me on video. With a mysterious look, she told me, Sister Chuxia, I'll tell you a secret. The apocalypse is coming in 3 days. Only the mermaid tribe can escape this disaster. Come to the seaside, and I'll take you to the ocean floor. The underwater signal was a bit laggy, but I still saw the red marks on Lin Wanwan's wrists and arms. I feigned shock. The end of the world? Really? How do you know? Don't worry about how I know. Just get to the seaside quickly. This is your only chance to survive. What about Mom and Dad? Should we pick them up? As soon as I finished, my parents' voices rang out. Chuxia, we came here long ago. It's wonderful here. You should hurry over too. Looking at the thick foundation on their faces, I realized my parents had also turned into mermaids. They had lost a lot of weight, and the spots the makeup didn't cover were bruised. And yet, they still told me it was wonderful there. In the previous life, it's not that I hadn't begged them for help, but they just thought I was complaining about nothing. They said living through extreme weather on land was much harder than what I was going through. And now, they wanted to drag me down there to suffer in Lin Wanwan's place. I pretended to be moved. Okay, I'll head to the seaside now. After that, I threw the 24K pure gold phone straight into the trash. It's a good thing Chin Lai has so much money to support my wasteful habits. 3 days later, the heavy rain began to fall. At first, people thought it was just a normal rainstorm, until it continued non-stop for 5 days. Villages were washed away, and mudslides blocked the roads in the countryside. Many people moved to higher ground. First, they went to the upper floors of buildings, then up into the mountains. Eventually, the Federation deployed cruise ships to establish floating shelters. As for Chin Lai and me, on the 3rd day, as soon as the water started pooling, we set out on the ships to conduct rescues, whether they were humans or beastmen. We took in anyone who sent a distress signal. 6,000 refugees lived in the 400-room hotel. Everyone hoped the disaster would pass quickly. But after the flood came the plague. I distributed the stockpiled disinfectants to everyone. Experts began to predict that blizzards would arrive in 6 months. There were even rumors from an authoritative agency that this blue planet was slowly losing its life force. The Federation began building underground cities and spaceships. I donated all of Qin Lai's remaining gold. When the heavy rains ended, reporters interviewed me about the fact that I had saved tens of thousands of refugees. I appealed to the public to help the country build the underground cities and overcome the difficulties together. Soon, the underground city was finished. Because of our special contribution, Qin Lai and I were allocated a larger residence. Compared to our previous house, it was nothing. But compared to those dorms where a dozen people were squeezed into one room, it was much better. In the 6th year of living in the underground city, the Federation developed spaceships. When the news about the selection for boarding was causing a massive stir, Lin Wanwan and my parents actually found me. The moment I saw them, I almost didn't recognize them. After only a few years, Lin Wanwan was as thin as a rail, with a long scar on her face. My parents' situation wasn't any better, especially my father, who had even lost a leg. My mother was holding a small child in her arms, likely the mermaid baby Lin Wanwan had given birth to. But I had been kept healthy and plump by Qin Lai. The moment she entered my house, Lin Wanwan spoke sarcastically. "Chuxia, how can you just enjoy yourself here, without looking for mom and dad? Do you know how much we suffered trying to find you? Especially our father. He lost his leg for you. For me? Why did I feel like they were trying to escape from the seabed? Got caught by Mo Lu, and had his leg broken then?" I feigned shock. "Ah. Really? But you were living so well under the sea. Why did you suddenly come ashore?" Mermaids have two forms, mermaid and human. However, even in human form, they cannot stay on land for too long. If they stay too long, their skin will fester. Back then, many lower-class mermaids who ran away had to crawl back, and their ends were each more miserable than the last. Before my parents could speak, Lin Wanwan spoke up. "It was out of worry for you. Do you know how much effort it took for us to come from the sea to find you?" As she spoke, Lin Wanwan saw the refrigerator, and her eyes lit up. She opened the door directly, grabbed the raw meat inside, and started gnawing on it without any dignity. My parents were the same, scrambling to grab food. The mermaid baby was tossed onto the sofa, letting out a piercing cry. Hearing the crying, a flash of malice crossed Lin Wanwan's eyes. "Mom, what's wrong with you? Can't you look after the child properly? Wait until Dad and I finish eating, then you can eat." My mother reluctantly put down the raw potato in her hand and walked over with tearful eyes to pick up the child. She looked extremely pitiful, with vegetable bits on her face. Lin Wanwan opened the freezer. Seeing the pork, she pointed at me and shouted, "Chuxia, I want braised pork for dinner tonight." However, I didn't take the bait. "Since you've confirmed my safety now, you can go back." The three of them were stunned. Lin Wanwan was the first to react, cursing loudly. "Lin Chuxia, are you heartless? We just arrived and you're driving mom and dad away? And to think you're a celebrity now." I quickly put on a confused face. "You've misunderstood me. I heard that if mermaids stay on land too long, their skin festers. I'm afraid something will happen to you. Maybe I should contact brother-in-law Mo Lu and have him pick you up." That name was like a curse. As soon as I said it, Lin Wanwan's body trembled. Fear was written all over my parents' eyes. My mother was dazed for a moment and grabbed my hand. "Chuxia, you absolutely must not contact Mo Lu. Actually, we escaped." I pretended not to know. "Ah?" Mother's tears fell. "To get out. Your father had his leg broken by them. That place is simply not for humans. Please don't send us back." Lin Wanwan couldn't save face. "Mom, how can you tell her all this? The only one who can save us is Chuxia. I've had enough of a life serving others and cleaning up after them. I don't ever want to go back and squeeze into a sea cave with 20 people again." "Stay. Can you let us stay with you? Just one room would be enough." Faced with my mother's expectant gaze, I withdrew my hand and let half my face fall into the shadows. "Mom, I'm afraid it won't work." I spoke sincerely. "First of all, I'm not the master of this house. Secondly, as you can see, our place is small. We can't take you in." Lin Wanwan was instantly furious. "Lin Chuxia, are those even human words? These are your biological parents. Do you have the heart to see them live like this?" I smiled. "It's true they are my parents. But aren't you the one they raised by hand? They gave all their money and love to you. But in the end, I'm the one who has to show filial piety. Isn't that a bit unreasonable?" Lin Wanwan's face turned pale. My parents' pupils shrank too, finally realizing that I always knew they were playing me for a fool. I pointed to the door. "Please leave my house." If she hadn't seen the things in the fridge, Lin Wanwan might have just left. But now, she couldn't leave at all. After all, outside, let alone pork, even rat meat required a lot of money to buy. Since you feel mom and dad have wronged you, then you have even less reason to be here. Don't forget, if I hadn't given Qin Lai to you, could you have this good life now? Just as I was about to call someone to forcibly kick them out, Qin Lai came back. Lin Wanwan actually rushed up to him. Qin Lai. The person you should have married from the start was me. Although a mistake was made, it's okay, there's still a chance to correct it now. I'm willing to return to your side. Hearing this, Qin Lai's face darkened. He glared at her fiercely, then jogged over to me. Wife, I don't know this old lady. How shameless. Trying to seduce someone else's husband in public. Leave now, or I'll call the security team. In the end, Lin Wanwan left dejectedly. Before leaving, she didn't forget to shout. Lin Chuxia, don't be so smug. Do you think you'll survive like this? I'm telling you. The spaceship is about to open boarding spots. I'm holding the only chance to get on that ship. When the time comes, don't you dare beg me to take you along. I gave a cold laugh. Let's wait and see. Soon, the official organization announced the boarding conditions. First, those who made significant contributions to the world. Second, one member from each Beastman species would be chosen to board. Third, high IQ humans would be selected. Even if those three conditions were met, there would still be a lottery. But there are always exceptions. Qin Lai and I were selected for the first batch. Lin Wanwan, who thought her mermaid baby would get her on the ship, was not among these three types of people. Even deep underground, the internet was still very developed. Soon, a video of Lin Wanwan was posted online. In the video, she was holding her thin, dark mermaid baby and shouting at the officials. On what grounds are you denying me boarding? How can you say my baby is worthless? He's clearly the most beautiful mermaid baby. I protest. But no one listened. I think there's something wrong with your selection criteria. Why can only those precious fish get on the ship? Although the officials explained repeatedly that it wasn't about being a precious fish at all, and the reason he wasn't selected was that a candidate for his mermaid species had already been chosen. The video spread widely. Many people mocked Lin Wanwan's overestimation of herself, but some supported her remarks, feeling that this kind of selection criteria shouldn't be used. Just as I was watching this video, Lin Wanwan's voice came from outside my door. Lin Chuxia, get out here. After I went out, Lin Wanwan glared at me intensely. Did you pull some strings? Why were you chosen in the last life for giving birth to a mermaid? But it doesn't work for me in this life? I feigned ignorance. What are you talking about? I don't understand. You must have said something to the officials. They wiped my name off the list. Otherwise, why would you be on it? You shouldn't even be there. I kindly informed her. I'm on the list. Because Qin Lai is the only South China tiger beastman in this world. As his wife, I naturally get to go with him. After all, the heavy responsibility of breeding South China tigers can only fall on our shoulders. Lin Wanwan's face was instantly filled with regret. The only South China tiger beastman. How had she not thought of that? As long as she had protected Qin Lai in this life, she would have secured her ticket to board. She thought that by snatching the mermaid, she had stolen my opportunity. Little did she know that from the very beginning, she had handed the admission ticket to me herself. Despite her unwillingness, Lin Wanwan was eventually dragged away by our parents. As she left, she was still obsessing over why I had been selected to board when I gave birth in our previous life. If she had known that having a baby was useless, she wouldn't have waited until she was pregnant to escape the seabed. I looked at her retreating figure. How could you possibly understand? It was because my child in the previous life wasn't Mo-Lu's at all. I didn't know his exact name. Only that he was a low-rank mermaid. Mo-Lu had given me to a very old mermaid. After I became pregnant with his child, he passed away. That old mermaid was one of only two surviving mermaids of a new species in this world. However, I never imagined my parents would have the audacity to come back and beg me. They begged me to give my boarding spot to Lin Wanwan. Especially the moment my mother knelt down to me. I thought she'd gone mad. Chuxia. Mom and Dad have wronged you. But this isn't Wanwan's fault. In the first place, the one who should have married Qin Lai was her. Just give up the spot. Stay underground with Mom and Dad. Let me make up for the motherly love you lost, okay? I was utterly shocked. Who would choose that worthless motherly love over their own life? I refused outright. Lin Chuxia, since you're unwilling, then we'll all die together. Just like in my previous life. My father and mother grabbed both my arms tightly. Lin Wanwan rushed at me with a knife. But this time, she didn't succeed. Qin Lai and the guards were stationed right by my side. The moment Lin Wanwan charged out, they seized her. Lin Chuxia. So what if you're Qin Lai's wife? He's a South China tiger. But you aren't. You've been together all these years and have no children. There must be something wrong with you. He'll definitely find someone else. You're not guaranteed a spot on that ship. I leaned down and said to her, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm pregnant. Lin Wanwan's face turned pale. She knew exactly what those words meant. The three of them were taken away by the guards. Conditions in the underground city were limited. The jail cells wouldn't be any more comfortable than a 20-person dorm. After the guards took them away, Chin Lai suddenly asked if it was true. Chin Lai's hand cautiously touched my belly. I smiled slightly. It's true. I thought I was just getting fat. But I only found out I was pregnant yesterday. Soon, the day for boarding arrived. Before boarding, I decided to do one thing. I went to see Lin Wanwan and the others. I told them. The officials had specially allowed me to take one family member. I said I still wanted to take one of them up. But there is only one spot. I'll let you discuss it among yourselves. After saying this, I didn't leave. Instead, I went to the surveillance room. I saw surprise and joy on all three of their faces. I knew it. Chu Xia is not a heartless person. Great. Since one person can go, then let the baby go. Since he was born, he hasn't had a single day of comfort. Lin Wanwan's face immediately darkened. What are you talking about? If anyone goes, it has to be me. How can we let the baby go? Without this opportunity, the three might have remained united against me. But when faced with the instinct to survive, no one is a saint. Then my mother spoke up. I think it should be me. In this family, the only person Chu Xia likes is me. It's only fitting that I go. I can even help look after the grandson. Lin Wanwan let out a cold laugh. What are you thinking? Out of all of us, you are the least deserving. Even though when they were under the sea, Lin Wanwan and my father often bullied my mother. They had never been so blunt about it before. Hearing this, my mother's eyes instantly reddened. Why am I not deserving? I contributed the most to this family. It seems the Prime Minister was right. You really are an ungrateful white-eyed wolf. Lin Wanwan didn't expect that on this matter. My parents would suddenly stop siding with her. She was furious. She pulled a knife out from her hair and stabbed my mother. My mother didn't have time to react. She looked at the knife in her body in disbelief. I said you aren't worthy. And I meant it. My father was dumbstruck too. He ran over and picked up my mother. He called her name several times, but there was no response. When he put his hand to her nose, he found she wasn't breathing. He let out a loud shout. What are you doing? She's your mother. She is not my mother. I'm not your biological child anyway. You old thing. Keep your damn mouth shut. If you annoy me, I'll kill you too. My father was completely stunned. He hadn't expected his favorite daughter, the daughter he had given up everything for, to show such a true face. Tears suddenly fell from my father's eyes. I really regret it. I should have sent you back at the beginning. To think I would abandon my own biological daughter. For someone like you. I saw his tears through the monitor, but felt nothing in my heart. Perhaps a belated affection is cheaper than grass. Maybe because Lin Wanwan had committed murder. Or maybe because my father's heart was completely dead. He sat in the corner, holding that poor mermaid baby, staring blankly for a long time. But the next day, the prison staff told me. My father and Lin Wanwan were also dead. Checking the surveillance, I learned. My father sat in the corner staring blankly until night. And Lin Wanwan, thinking she could still board the ship, dressed herself up nicely. She even stole my father's drinking water to wash her hair. When night fell, after Lin Wanwan fell asleep, my father first said goodbye to the lovely mermaid baby. Then he took off his belt, wrapped it around Lin Wanwan's neck, and forcibly sent her off. After that, my father wrote a letter, and committed suicide with that knife. That letter was handed to me. It was over 10,000 words long. All 10,000 words were apologizing to me. He said he had mistreated me, that I hadn't enjoyed any happiness in the first half of my life, and that I suffered so much after returning to the Lin family. He didn't want to cause me any more trouble. So he committed suicide to let me board the ship in peace, without thinking too much. But he didn't know. I never planned to forgive them at all. It was just an excuse to make them destroy each other. I didn't shed a single tear after reading the letter, because it simply came too late. Afterward, I boarded the spacecraft. There, I successfully gave birth to a South China tiger Beastman. The little tiger was very cute. He always reminded me of my radiant mermaid baby from before. Until one day, I asked him, how did you pick me as your mother among so many people? The little tiger thought for a long time. Then told me very solemnly, Mom, we've met before. A long time ago, we lived in the water. Later, it became a small black room. I instantly burst into tears. After I gave birth to the mermaid baby in my past life, we did live in the water for a while. I was afraid that bringing him straight to shore would harm the mermaid baby. After going ashore, we were rescued and assigned to a small dark room. I hugged my child tightly. I was certain that this was my mermaid baby. He had come back for me. After 30 years in space, the apocalypse on Lon Xian finally passed. Just as the scientists had said, this planet has a strong self-healing ability. It could heal those wounds on its own. But now that the apocalypse was over, what the situation on the ground was like remained unknown. It required people to go down and explore, as well as rebuild our home. I was already over 60 years old, and had 4 children. Jean Lai had gone from being alone to having a house full of descendants. In this life, the two of us had no regrets. So, both Jean Lai and I signed up, and became the first pair of pioneers to go to the surface. The spacecraft had lost contact with the ground 10 years ago. Everyone thought there were no living creatures left on the surface. But in the second month after we returned to the surface, we met people from the underground city. Among them were some of our old friends. They told us the last 30 years had indeed been very hard, but Mother Planet had not abandoned them. We thought no living things could grow. But later someone in the underground city discovered a plant. That plant was like a mushroom. It didn't taste good, but it could sustain life. I think this is the mystery of nature. It is very powerful. It can lose control, but it also brings new hope. The disaster has passed. The new home will surely be built very well, with a higher level of civilization.